All right, today we're diving into a story that's basically a masterclass on how to grow a business. And I'm not kidding when I say grow. The journey of First Call Solutions, it started, well, about as small as you can get.
So, how small are we talking? Back in 2017, the entire company was just 2 people. Yep, you heard that right, just 2.
Which of course brings up the big question, right? The one we're really going to unpack here. How do you go from a team of 2 to, well, this?
Over 700 professionals. I mean, that's not just growth. That is an absolute explosion. So the real mystery is, how in the world did they pull that off? Let's get into it.
Okay, so like any great story, this one has a beginning. And for First Call Solutions, it was about as humble as it gets.
I want you to picture this for a second. It's 2017. You've got 2 people, 1 laptop, and this massive dream of shaking up the whole pay-per-call marketing world. That's it. It's the classic startup garage story, all ambition and a whole lot to prove.
But of course, having a big dream isn't enough. That ambition got put to the test right away. The early days were, well, they weren't easy. It was less of a smooth ride and more like running a gauntlet. Just one huge test after another they had to pass just to stay afloat.
And look, these are hurdles that pretty much any entrepreneur would recognize. You've got super tough competition breathing down your neck. Resources? Barely any. Finding and training the right people? A constant headache. Then you've got to somehow build client trust from absolute scratch. All while juggling operations across different time zones. Seriously, any single one of those things could have been a total company killer.
But they weren't. This is where the story gets really interesting. It's the turning point, right? The moment they shift from just surviving to actually thriving. So, what was the secret sauce? How'd they do it?
Well, it really came down to this one core belief, this philosophy that they lived by. They saw challenges not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones. And this wasn't just some motivational poster on the wall, This was their actual strategy. Every single problem became a lesson. Every setback was just a setup for a major comeback. And that mindset, it changed absolutely everything.
And this comparison just says it all, doesn't it? They went from just 2 people to a powerhouse of over 700 professionals. They went from scraping by with barely any resources to being able to guarantee performance for their clients. That's a huge deal. And that early struggle to build trust, it ended up creating an incredibly experienced team that people now actively seek out.
So what does all that growth, all that hard-won experience actually mean for their partners today? Well, it let them build something really powerful, a value proposition that's pretty unique. These days, their expertise is just vast. It's not just one thing they do, it's the whole shebang. We're talking lead generation, pay-per-call, customer support, all the back-office stuff, and a full marketing suite. Basically, they took every single lesson they learned while growing and turned it into a service they could offer.
So what's the bottom line for their partners? It's actually super simple and super powerful. First Call helps them cut costs and scale up way faster than they ever could on their own. By taking care of all the heavy lifting, the heavy operations as they call it, they let their partners focus on the one thing that matters most, making more money.
All right, so as we start to wrap this up, the whole story really boils down to one central idea, one big lesson about how they looked at their entire journey.
And here it is. The big takeaway is that those obstacles they faced, they weren't just annoying things to get over. They were the very things that made the company strong. It was that powerful vision mixed with pure consistency and a ton of hard work that literally turned every single roadblock into another step up the ladder.
So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about it. What are the roadblocks in your own life or your own career right now? And what might happen if, just like First Call Solutions, you started looking at them not as walls but as the actual foundation you can build your future on?